Well, many people are watching, and they are watching, and there are expectations that there will be more defections to the ruling All Progressive Congress. You said, of course. Why is it so?
From the body language of many of them, including some of the governors, it is still very most likely that the governor of Enugu State will join them, and the governor of is it Bayelsa now?
Bayelsa.
Yeah, it is likely to join them. But we do not know. But feelers we are even getting from Kwankwaso too indicates that he too is likely to come on board the APC. Well,
Shegun, let me say we have two topics, very, very major topics that have dominated the discourse in the last few days. And we'll be talking about the defection that we've started with. I call it Delta Defection Tsunami, where 22 Assembly members and 6 House of Rep members have moved to the ruling All Progressives Congress. But we're going to start with electoral fraud of 2019, so to speak, where 56 CSOs, demand Akpabio's resignation. 56 prominent civil society organizations, including Amnesty International, Nigeria, and Center for Democracy and Development, have called for the immediate resignation of Senate President Godswill Akpabio, following the Court of Appeals affirmation of the conviction of Professor Peter Ogban, the returning officer in the 2019 Akwa Ibom Northwest senatorial election for electoral fraud. The CSOs, in a joint statement on Monday, said the development has thrown up critical ethical questions which has undermined the legitimacy of Akpabio's senatorial mandate, as well as public trust in Nigeria's democracy. Ogban, a professor of soil science at the University of Uyo, was prosecuted by the Independent National Electoral Commission for alleged manipulation of the results of the election held in Akwa Ibom's Ikot Ekpene senatorial district. He was found guilty of falsifying figures and sentenced to 3 years imprisonment and a fine of 100,000 naira by the State High Court in Uyo in 2021. This verdict now has been upheld by the Court of Appeal. The CSO said, and I quote, "We are deeply disturbed by the implications of the judgment on the integrity of the electoral process that brought Senator Godswill Akpabio to the Senate." It will be displayed on your screen, right there is there, so that it can resonate with our viewers. It is now judicially established that the results were manipulated in his favor by a returning officer who has been tried, convicted, and sentenced for the crime. The question now is not just about legal technicalities, but about ethical responsibility and the credibility of public office. The statement continued. Senator Akpabio has denied personal involvement in the act of manipulation. Nevertheless, as the direct beneficiary of the fraud, he cannot be absolved of institutional and moral responsibility. The position of Senate President is one of immense national significance. For the sake of democratic integrity and public trust, we call on Senator Akpabio to step aside while this matter is given the transparency and accountability it deserves. They also raised fundamental questions, including, and I quote, "Having been a confirmed beneficiary of electoral fraud in the 2019 election to the 9th Senate, which he did not even complete due to his later appointment as Minister of Niger Delta, did Senator Akpabio have the legal or moral standing to contest for a seat in the 10th National Assembly, let alone serve as its president? This is not about politics or partisanship. It is about the principle of democratic accountability. Nigerians deserve a Senate leadership free from ethical baggage and judicial controversy. Senator Akpabio's continued leadership under these circumstances is an affront to the sanctity of the ballot and the democratic process." End of quote. They also challenged the APC to initiate a revalidation or rerun process for the Akwa Ibom Northwest senatorial seat as proof of its professed commitment to free and fair elections. Apart from Amnesty International and CDD, the statement was endorsed by a broad coalition of national and regional civic organizations. Time will not permit us, and let's come back to the studio. I cannot begin to reel out their names, but they are 22. Well, Segun, how did you make of this? You know, the petition written, you know, to the Senate for Godswill Akpabio to step aside on moral grounds for investigation to continue, because the person that was at the center of it all, that collated those results and allegedly falsified the figures, has been sentenced to a jail term of 3 years and fined 100,000 naira. But the direct beneficiary, even though he did not work for Akpabio, Senator Akpabio specifically, but Senator Akpabio is the direct beneficiary and he holds sway as number 3 citizen. How do you make of this?
Well, there are two issues there. You have the moral grounds,
yes,
and you have the legal grounds. So I think what the CSO cannot get through the law, they are now pleading morals.
Morals. That's right.
To have it. That's not right. It's not right. Senator Akpabio's election is not being contested here. If they have a grouse against his election based on new information they have now, they go to court. But do not forget that the election petition for National Assembly election for 2019 is closed. So what are we talking? You can plead with him. So okay, because you are a matured person, you are a good politician, you are a father, you are this, you are that. Okay, on moral grounds, step down so that we talk about this.
The onus is on him to honor their proposal, or not?
Yes. So the call for Akpabio to step down has been coming from so many fronts. Don't forget
the Natasha issue.
What they were emphasizing there was Akpabio, step down, step down, step down, step down. People, there are people in so many places that want Akpabio to step down. Why? What for? Let them prove their cases. You know, the call has been coming. In fact, 2 or 3 days after the prof was sentenced to prison by the appeal court. Calls have been coming from right, left, and centers. The civil society, they just put everything together in form of a petition to send now. But the call had always been there. But I do not know why they want Akpabio to step down. Nobody has found him guilty, especially in this case of electoral fraud. No.
Nobody.
So except that they have something, that there is a breach that he has committed against or an infraction against the law. But if you now start appealing to sentiment on moral grounds, that is a beneficiary of somebody's atrocities. So for that, he should lose his seat, which legally he is entitled to. Okay,
you know, it will be recalled that when the trial court delivered its verdict in 2021, Akpabio denied any wrongdoing, you know, insisting that the judgment had in fact vindicated him. And there was a statement issued at the time by his spokesperson, Anyete Ekong, and I quote, "In that election, Senator Akpabio's votes, totaling about 61,329 in his home local government area, Asian Udim, were collated but not announced by Mr. Ogban. Mr. Ogban was not working for Mr. Akpabio, who had challenged the election results at the tribunal. It is also worth noting that the INEC later conducted a rerun election in the area as ordered by the Court of Appeal. However, Akpabio did not participate, having been appointed Minister of the Niger Delta. He did not participate, having been appointed. And he also said he was vindicated. And that is in line with exactly what
I was trying to tell you before we started this program that the professor,
Yes.
did not rig that election for Akpabio.
Akpabio.
It was not, in fact, he rigged the election against Akpabio.
Yes.
So he favored
Chris Ekwenyon.
Akpabio's opponent
Chris
in that
Ekwenyon.
election. He favored him.
Chris Ekwenyon of the PDP.
Of the PDP. So it was Akpabio, like he said, is vindicated. His initial agitation was to challenge the results brought out by the prof. He was to challenge the result before INEC. INEC found the prof. It was INEC that prosecuted the man.
Yes, it was INEC.
It was INEC. So the man Akpabio had nothing to do with what the professor did. So why they are now asking Akpabio to resign now because of somebody's sin is what many do not understand. So when the election was the runoff, I mean the runoff election was done, it was then Akpabio won and reclaimed his seat.
Yes. So
the prof erred in law even against Akpabio.
Yes.
So why are you asking him? So where I'm trying to understand the moral grounds that they are pleading now. I mean the civil society or all those who want Akpabio to resign. Because the law never found him guilty throughout the participation in that election of any malfeasance. So I really don't understand. Maybe you can.
No, I really don't understand also, but the call 22 of them, you know, COSOs are supposed to be headed by learned people, educated people, and these are civil society groups made of journalists and lawyers. Would you say they are short-sighted in terms of reasoning?
No, it may not be that. You know, we keep saying that 2027 is around the corner. But you are still going to hear more of such unbelievable agitations coming in here and there by people that have vested interests.
Yes.
I don't know why there has been this strident call for Akpabio to just step down. You know, maybe like one prof in the US said that probably they feel that Akpabio is central to the unity or to to the oneness of this administration. Maybe they want to pull him out so that they can have access to the presidency. That's not my word, is what the prof said. You know, maybe that's what they want to do. Everybody wants to destabilize all of them. They want to destabilize this government, destabilize the National Assembly, make these people weak so that they can have. I don't just know why they want to pull the National Assembly down, pull the executive down. For what? At a period where we are all supposed to face the challenges of this country. We have very many challenges. We have insurgency and the banditry across the country. People are still being kidnapped. Nobody is dissipating energy on that. We just want to balkanize the administration and then divide their attention. You know, I think if Nigerians, especially civil societies and the rest of them, okay, look at the hue and cry that followed the very dark man arrest by the authorities. So if somebody is arrested now, it is going to be added to the number of people that have been arrested by the government because it does not want like a human rights. The government is anti-people. The government does not want people to voice their dissent, or criticize the government. Now, what is the criticism against government in ordinary citizen writing a petition to the authorities that this man has committed financial infractions against them. What concerns government in that? So at the end of the day now, the whole country, they mobilized their people, and then there were agitation to release this man, writing to civil society, some people going to international court to say, over what?
Over what?
Everybody is just looking for a reason to paint Nigeria in bad light at this very moment. And I tell you, it is 2027 that most of these people are targeting.
Okay. Well, I've tried to reach out to the spokesperson of Senator Akpabio, SMA, but his phone, he's not responding. Just to hear the other side, of the story. You know, journalism, we practice this profession within the confines of the three most cardinal tenets: fairness, balance, and objectivity. So I tried to reach out to even the National Assembly spokesperson. It was met with a brick wall, but it will not stop us from, having this program. Well, is keeping quiet over this kind of thing, advantageous to them?
Of course.
Does it help matters?
Of course, it is not every noise that somebody at the helm of affairs should respond to. No. In fact, they are going to have more of this. They are going to. I think since the Natasha issue broke out, and it reached a very heated point at some point, I think the National Assembly, the Senate President and his team just stopped talking. They've not been going to the press to talk about some of these issues, which I think it is wise. You don't join issues with some of these people. It's not everybody that accuses you. There are accusations that you must respond to, but some you just allow them to take their normal course. They've written their petition now. It has gone to appropriate quarters, and they will be replied to officially, without necessarily engaging them in a war of words in the media.
Well, Shegun, talking about moral high grounds, when you are graduating from the university at all levels, whether undergraduate or postgraduate, you are discharged with a certificate, and what usually follows that is in character, in learning and character.
In learning and in character.
And in character, in learning and in character. And we have professors who are supposed to pass on these values into graduating students. I know, worried by the efforts of electoral offenses, there was this urgent need for professors to be engaged in managing the electoral process, particularly at the electoral level, during collation and election and things like that. Ogban, professor of soil science, was jailed in 2021 for alleged electoral fraud. Only this year, precisely on the 5th of February 2025, another professor, Professor Ignatius Uduk of University of Uyo, was sentenced for electoral fraud. How damaging could it be? Could that be? Because we thought, okay, professors in learning and in character will come with these entrenched values to add, to the electoral process, to step up its credibility. But what we're seeing are credibility that is taking a nosedive. Two people gone to jail.
It just shows us that professors too are human beings, and they are Nigerians, and they live in the Nigerian society. Maybe the relationship between town and gown is now rubbing off adversely on the gown. There is no group or society that you do not have bad eggs, and it is not. So we cannot, because of that, just throw away
professors.
No.
Okay, let's listen to Do Good is joining us from Port Harcourt. Do Good, good afternoon. This afternoon, how are you? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We appreciate you for joining us.
Afternoon is interesting. All is to make our country good.
That's right.
Because what you are saying is getting out of hand. The man they sentenced for that high professor, somebody in the north did the worst. It's a process. Even the air is free today. Not going to sentence is free. You know what I mean? That's the way. So eventually, all we are saying is to bring good men to our country for God's sake. The country has been destroyed by individuals, and they get away with it. That's the worst thing. After the whole thing, they get away with it. So if you commit crime or commit anything, you're supposed to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yes. You're not supposed to bring you down to pay for it, so others won't do it. But if they set you free, it will be galore to all. So that's what we're about. I think God will help us. People should continue to bring things out so that we know who is who. Before those days when I was growing, if you are a prisoner, you don't suggest to people not to suggest to you do your own. We leave you alone, yes, because you didn't a lot of outcasts. But these days, all the prisoners are really us. There are people on top. So it's not supposed to anywhere. And hardly in our country here, all these high profile men and women, they are doing the case. The case always goes down. But the rest of the restriction now, from PDP to APC to SDG, what's going on now? So, like they said, if you commit crime and the person goes to APC and it's not anywhere for God's sake. This country will sink down one day. It's going to look in this way. So I applaud you to continue exposing this thing and talk it out so that the people, the upcoming generation will follow. These elder people that have destroyed the nation, that destroy it entirely, I'm telling you. So please, help us to see what we can remedy the current of this nation, because I'm very sorry for my children, because I'm already old. I'm going to in my ancestors soon. I'm only pitying my children. I'm pitying them. Thank you. God bless you all.
God bless you too. Thank you. We appreciate you. Mr. Dogood from Port Harcourt, even though we could barely hear him, but please continue to call in. It's your program. The telephone number is right there on your screen. Let's make it interactive as well as conversational, because it is your show. He talked about age. He said he's old, that he has nothing to do anymore, but he's just praying for a better country for his children. That was exactly what Professor Ignatius Uduk of University of Uyo said in the court when he was sentenced. He said he's 70 years old. Let me quote. At 70, this is my first offense. I am appealing to the court to give me a soft landing, either by fine or state pardon. He has owned up to the offense.
Yes.
But he's pleading for the court to give him soft landing by fine or state pardon. You know, he was brought in a wheelchair. He now said, at 70, I'm going to prison. I was a professor in 2005, but the university forcefully retired me in 2010 because of this case. You know, the professor said, begging for pardon from the court. He also mentioned his age. He said he's 70.
That is why some people argue that why are you dragging Senate President Akpabio when the man that committed the offense had already owned up? Why are you dragging him?
Why are you dragging him?
He knew he rigged the election against Akpabio. So why not just face the case? Why bring Akpabio into it? That's another argument, for those that are in support of Akpabio. So I believe very strongly that there is no case against Akpabio in all this. And then appealing to him to relinquish what he fought for and got is not good, and is in bad taste. I want to believe that. So again, I strongly believe that the motive of those behind the petition is not clean.
Okay.
I don't believe they are fighting for what they profess to be fighting for, which is justice, fairness, equity, and all that they've quoted in their petition. That's not what they are because if they are actually fighting for equity, they will not say, although the Bible says that when the sinners are being punished, maybe the righteous too will benefit. But I don't think that this is what is happening with this case they have against Akpabio. The petition is unnecessary as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Now, this electoral, this court victory, we'll call it victory for INEC, is victory for Nigerians. You know, for two professors to go beyond bars, for electoral fraud.
You know, one of the arguments that those that have been calling for proper, good electoral procedures and electoral exercises in this country is that INEC and indeed Nigeria must deal with those who perpetrate electoral fraud at all levels. So this, like you said, is a victory. At least it will serve as an example and as a deterrent to others who might have similar ideas in our subsequent. If things like this have been happening in the past, I think cases of electoral malpractices will have reduced considerably. It is not only in using ICT and electoral gadgets that you can obliterate electoral fraud. You must prosecute. INEC must have the will to prosecute electoral offenders. It's a very good omen that these two, but they must go behind. They must go far beyond this. The prosecuting professors or electoral officials. How about the politicians?
How about the politicians?
Mark you, if these professors had been from some political parties, maybe the story would have been different. I want to believe so. Okay. There will have been so many interests, so many phone calls, so many deals that will have been caught. Maybe it's because these ones are isolated.
Okay, let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon. You're on to the polity from KAFTAN Television. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, sir. Where, sir? What's your, sir?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Now, I'm talking in terms of this professor conviction.
Yeah, what's your name, sir?
And now, I'm Basi calling from Cross River.
Okay, beautiful. Go ahead, Basi.
Sir, the issue of electoral law, I think they are following based on the law. Now, people that are defecting from one party to another after getting the mandate, why is the court not keeping to that electoral law? That is all what I wanted to ask. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you heard him.
Yeah.
People that are defecting, why is there no law stopping them?
Well, why would which law will stop them? There is still a freedom of association in our constitution. And then they are very good grounds for moving. They say there is a rancor in their party.
Yes.
Their own party is in disarray. So that is the reason why they jump ship. I think the issue is there is which many people are contesting, especially the party from which they are moving. That if you must go, don't go with our mandate.
Don't go with our mandate.
That one is still subject to so many controversies. And then it's even a case for so many lawsuits are still ongoing on that. So those moving, they have rights to move. They can move. Under the law, they can move. But whether they can move with the mandate they got from their former political party is another ball game.
I was agreeing to earlier when you alluded to the use of technology, and you talked about how infallible technology, devices can be. Technology technological devices don't use themselves. They don't operate themselves.
No.
They're operated by human beings. They are purchased by human beings,
yes.
calibrated by human beings,
yes.
and then manipulated by human beings. Which means it is
and
not
compromised by human
compromised
beings.
by human beings. And these are human beings have various interests.
Yes.
Now, 2 professors are behind bars. What are the lessons for other professors that, because we'll continue to use professors in the electoral process.
Don't say professors alone.
All
For
of
all
us.
electoral officials.
Yeah.
You know, they are agents of INEC.
Yes, they are agents of INEC.
Yes, they got involved in the election because INEC, well, employed them.
Employ them.
So they breached the trusts the system had in them. And the lesson there is that all others, everybody involved in elections, should be very careful. Okay, those who engaged him or lured him through whatever means to do what he did or what they did.
Where are they? They are scot-free.
Where are they? Yeah, they are scot-free. Or they abandoned them.
They abandoned them, yeah.
They are moving freely now. Their children too are moving freely. They and their families, they are together. But you have left your family now. You are going to jail. The name is spoiled.
The name is spoiled.
Record destroyed.
An ex-convict. You are the father of an ex. Your father is an ex-convict.
Yes.
Your brother is an ex-convict. So
yes.
it's a circle.
It's a circle.
And you are an ex-convict. And then we know the stigma that is associated with ex-convict. You are stereotyped.
If they were politicians now, we all know it doesn't matter anything.
It doesn't matter anything.
No, it doesn't matter anything.
We have ex-convicts that are chieftains.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
Ex-convicts that have not been pardoned. They are chieftains, political party chieftains, big parties.
Yes.
We have an ex-convict that is a chieftain in PDP.
So they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
In the political parties. But in the ivory tower, it's a very, very bad record. The name is spoiled. The years of hard work, reading and passing exams, and the highfalutin titles that he has earned, all gone now.
All gone.
So it's very painful. And it should be painful to everybody to fall from that kind of grace. You know, now they cannot contest any election in the country again as an ex-convict, except they get a state pardon.
In many communities in Nigeria, they will be told that they have brought shame to their community, they have brought shame to their clan.
How about their children? Even
their children.
And their wives when they go to the markets. So we should think very seriously about, this is Africa. We should think seriously about it. The name, their name, will be taken, their children will take it to school. And if there is any fight or misunderstanding, say, please, we know where your dad is. So we should all be mindful of our actions, especially when we are entrusted with public trust.
Okay, Do Good is returning. Do Good, you're welcome back from Port Harcourt.
Yes, good afternoon again.
That's right. Go ahead.
I want to put something out. According to a man was in a party as in Senate for 8 years. The same man was not God bless him. He got under the same party with governorship for 8 years. Now, where is he running to? What type of crime did he commit to make it to put out for this place to another party? So what I'm trying to say is, what type of crime is hanging on his neck to make him to pull out from a party that is giving him all he wants in life, both rich, nobleness, greatness, everything, firm. So you see, what I'm saying, if continue like this, it's not good for the nation. It's not good for all of us. It's not good. Yes, something is wrong somewhere. it with ease. That is your conscience. Your conscience. Do it with ease. Where are we heading to? It's like people living off their lost it. Whenever you invite foreigners come and they see what's going on here and see if you can bring it down to normalcy. So that what all the coming children with life in this country. The country, I'm afraid. When I remember this, I don't sleep in the night. I don't have anything to lose, but anyway, it's just fair. These conscienceless people, they should put it somewhere in zoo, somewhere in India, to treat the human beings. Like he said, I told you before, any man who goes to prison comes back. In my area, you step on your own, not too much. You try there. Yes, you don't have authority. When people are talking, don't talk. But it's not in Nigeria. I see some countries, presidents are sentenced to prison for committing crime and corruption. Prime Minister, everything, but it's not done here. They are free to walk out, do what they like, and all of this. So how can we live in this country? How can we continue?
Thank you.
How can we stop it? People talking of this mess. It's a good mess.
Thank
it's
you.
It's an abomination. And it doesn't talk good of our country. It's just unfortunate.
Okay, good.
I think about too much, my brother.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you too. Do good from Port Harcourt. He's so vehement.
I would just appeal to Dugu not to allow the problem of Nigeria to overwhelm him to the extent that he will not be able to sleep at night. At the point, we should just hand over everything to God and believing that God will intervene at one point or the other. But for us to allow it to get into us to the extent that we will not be able to sleep and it will impinge negatively on our health, it is not good for anybody.
Okay. Dugu has already dovetailed into our second topic. That is the conversation that has to do with the 22 members that defected from the State House of Assembly of Delta State. But, let me ask you the last question before we make a transition into that topic. Nigeria belongs to a community of nations where we must interdepend. There are countries that depend on us for certain things. We also depend on other countries that are bigger than us. And 2 professors are going to jail for alleged electoral fraud. What kind of thing does it do to a nation, that behaves in such a way? The successes of, we're fighting corruption, so to speak. The government, part of what the government is doing is to fight corruption. And this is electoral corruption. 2 professors have gone to jail. How does it portray us, in the diplomatic fair, international diplomatic fair? It's fair.
Well, every nation has its bad eggs. In fact, what is being preached is that, yes, everywhere people commit crime, but nations must find a way to deal with their criminals. It will be very bad for Nigeria if these professors had gone unchallenged and they still walk the streets like a noble man. But now the society has ostracized them and put them where they belong. I think that stands us in good stead among the Committee of Nations. I think nations too, every nation has its own hoodlums. And it's what we are saying is that we should do more of this self-cleansing. Nobody is going to hang us for having bad eggs in our system. If we're doing something, we are working on it to ensure that we handle them, we deal with them, we prosecute them, we investigate, prosecute, and send them to jail if they are guilty. So it is being done everywhere. So I don't think, yes, it is very bad that such level of individuals that have risen to that very high level in society we fall victim to such odious nonsense like twisting and turning figures. It's very bad, but the problem is not a general one. How many professors were engaged in that elections? If you have about how many, 774, and only 2 were found to have had infractions, I think it's still a good one. The Ivory Tower is still doing very well, and they should keep engaging them in our elections.
Well, I'm happy to hear that the Ivory Tower is doing very well. Shegun, let's shift gears to another topic. 22 members of the Delta State House of Assembly and 6 members of the House of Representatives elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party on Tuesday, that's yesterday, defected to the All Progressives Congress. At the Delta State House of Assembly, Speaker Right Honorable Emomotimi Dennis Guwor, who presented the individual letters of all the defecting lawmakers at resumed plenary of the House on Tuesday, 6th May 2025, said the defections followed the instability of the national leadership of the PDP and the fractionalization of the South-South Zonal Executive of the party, which has resulted in division within the PDP. Similarly, all the Delta State People's Democratic Party House of Representatives members on Tuesday, that's yesterday, officially defected to the All Progressives Congress. It sounds like a well-choreographed arrangement. Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas made their defection public during plenary on Tuesday. The lawmakers cited protracted internal crisis and divisions within their parties as the reasons for their defection. They argued that the lingering internal wranglings was making it impossible for them to deliver on campaign promises, adding that their decision to defect was made with the full support of their constituents. Well, Speaker of the Delta State Assembly, Guwor, further explained that the defection of the state's lawmakers was also in line with Section 109, subsection 1G of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. He noted that membership of the Delta State House of Assembly is now 100% All Progressives Congress, thanking their various constituents for giving them the note to toe what he described as the progressive pathway. Well, I've listened to the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, where he said the party is waiting for abandoned Kwankwaso to come back to the ruling, to join the All Progressives Congress. He's making it sound like a self-adorative, thing. It amounts to self-adoration because so many people are moving to his own party, and they are unperturbed. Many people are exercising concern that this could be a journey to a one-party state, but they are sounding unperturbed at all. How do you react to that?
We cannot have a one-party state.
You have said it several times.
It's not possible. By this gale of defections, it won't collapse PDP. Neither will it make SDP to frizzle out as a party, or Labour Party, for instance. Those that are shouting, they are dragging us to one party state, they know what they are doing. It's just mere politics. It is because they are losing. They are the ones losing out. So that's why they are shouting. Like we said, let them put their houses in order. Those that said they are moving because of internal wranglings, they are not wrong. It's something everybody can see. Although we know why those ones are defecting. Yeah. But what they are putting up to the public is still the truth. PDP is in disarray today at so many levels. So I think they should rather put their houses in order rather than clinging to a straw. So I don't, yes, that the APC is having a party, of course. We should indulge them. We should allow them to have their day in the sun. They should enjoy themselves. Things are moving their way. I think, and it will continue to be so.
I think you are right, because the Speaker of Delta State House of Assembly alluded to the crisis that has been going on, and that is the reason the Constitution prescribed upon which you can use as an excuse to depart from the party.
Yes.
And let me quote something that he said to his colleagues at the resumed plenary before they made that decision. He said, "My esteemed colleagues, I wish to seize this opportunity to stress the fact that Delta State is one big family. The mass defection by members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the state, led by His Excellency the Governor, to the All Progressives Congress, APC, was done in the overall best interest of all Deltas and the state." He went further to say, "It was an outcome of a wide consultation across a broad spectrum of political stakeholders, which culminated on 23rd and 29th of April 2025 at the Government House and Senate top, respectively. We are ever committed to align with the federal government to deliver more development to Deltas and the state." On behalf of the State House of Assembly, I salute this uncommon courage and exemplary visionary leadership shown by our indefatigable Governor, Right Honorable Elder Sheriff Francis Oborowori, in taking this very well thought out strategic decision at this point in time. My concern, Shegun, is that, you know, there are three independent, tiers: the federal, the judiciary, and the executive, and they are supposed to be independent. The State House of Assembly is there, just like the National Assembly, is there to check the excesses of the executive. But when a speaker comes out to talk in such manner, led by our leader, Chief Elder Oborowori, is just to connect with the center. He's just repeating what the governor and his predecessor, Ifeanyi Okowa, said. Then it brings to naught that prescribed, strength to independence, to create checks and balances, for the executive. What do you think?
You are saying two different things.
Yes, at the same time.
Yes. Don't forget, the speaker and the governor, they belong to separate arms of government.
Exactly.
But when it comes to their membership of political party,
they are the same.
They are the same. But there is a leader and there is the led. So maybe the man is referring to their position in the party. In the party, and it is a political issue they are talking about now.
You're sounding hypothetical now.
Yes.
Maybe.
No. It's not hypothetical. They are all members of the same party.
But you said maybe.
No, they are the same. They are in the same political party.
That's right. I understand that.
So in that party, the governor is the leader in that state.
Yes.
But when we now come to state administration, that is when you have the governor in the executive, the legislature, where you are talking of independence of each. They are supposed to be independence of each other.
Yes.
But when they are in the same party, which is what the man is referring to, the governor is still the leader of the party. So don't let us conflict the two. So if he sits on a seat and is talking about state administration, I don't think he will use all the, well, maybe he will. This is Nigeria. We use all the accolades to describe the governor, because he who pays the piper
dictates the tune.
Don't forget.
Before you ask me not to forget, Delta is very rich. Let's listen to our ambassador in Cross River State. He's very close to Delta. He knows so much about the Niger Delta politics. S.O. Dudu from Cross River State, our KAFTAN TV ambassador. This is your turn because it's your show.
Yes, imagine beautiful Nigeria with KAFTAN TV.
That's right.
Yes.
And imagine a beautiful world with KAFTAN TV.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good afternoon to you, Honorable Macauley Hunohashi, our very wonderful host.
We appreciate you.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Shehu Bilade, our veteran journalist.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to our esteemed viewers. Very wonderful topic. I believe you are doing justice to the topic.
Yes.
And in the studio there.
Mm.
Sincerely speaking, if you see what is happening in our politics or in our political domain, you begin to believe that I am a politician anyway,
yes.
but let me not be desire for economical with my words. You begin to believe that the most shameless people so far in Nigeria are the politicians.
Of which you are one.
Look at the shenanigans.
Of which you are one.
Yes, of which I'm one. I'm actually indicting myself. That is why I say thank God I'm a politician as well.
That's right.
And even you in the studio, you are a politician because
everybody is a politician.
By implication, all of us are politicians.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, political animal. Yes. So, just as Mr. Chegun is saying, truly, there is no way this gale of deflation that is happening can take us to a one-party system. It cannot happen. Why? Is that pressure that is happening? More pressure happening.
The network is very bad.
Is that the old?
Let him cut it and call back.
Are you there?
We are here. We can barely hear you.
Yes.
The network just ended. Ezodudu, please do call back. The network is not friendly this afternoon. We can barely hear you, and as usual, Ezodudu calls in to make very, very valid points. I know him very well. He's very articulate when it comes to the issue and passionate when it comes to the issue of this country. Particularly has been played by our politicians. He's a politician. He has never shied away from the fact that he's a member of the ruling APC. Go ahead, Ezodudu. The lines are not good.
I believe you can hear me now.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay. Sorry, the network was very bad. So, just as I was saying, that if you look at what is happening in Delta State, most especially, there will be a change of batting. And when there is that change of batting, from all indications, the old APC member will not be comfortable with the arrangement. Normally what happens when you see this political bigwigs, they become like this. The old APC member, like people like the former deputy Senate president and others, you see that there is some change. And when there are some change, there will no longer be given or accorded that due respect, that recognition. I believe you are hearing me.
Yes, very loud.
Okay. Yes, they will not be given that due recognition the way they were given initially. So what will happen is that you see them, they will begin to look for another vehicle that will definitely accommodate them and make them relevant. That is one for APC. So the APC on the whole should be very careful. For PDP, this is the right time. They should give back the party to the people. PDP should be giving back to the people, not giving to the governors. If you look at our political system, the way our political parties are being financed or funded, or the way they fund it, you are going to discover that it is the governors that actually fund our parties. And that is why you see, like if you go back to the 60s, 70s, the political parties were not run like that. The members actually funded the party. So that is what we expect from the PDP now. They should give back PDP to the people to actually instill that sense of belongingness, so that Nigeria will believe that there is hope. There is hope. If they can do that, it will help us. Let's leave it there. Then the other topic we're discussing.
The other topic, yes.
What is that topic?
We're talking about Akpabio.
Electoral fraud.
Two
electoral fraud.
Two professors are in jail.
Yes, electoral fraud. From all indication, from the analysis that our veteran journalists actually gave us. If you look at carefully, about 774 professors were actually deployed to the field.
Yes.
And 2 professors are now being indicted. Well, it's a pass mark. Yeah. For some people who say that maybe they are seeing the other persons, their sins have not been
forgiven,
uncovered, have not been uncovered. Those ones were actually not lucky. That is why they find themselves there. Yes. But the joy is that this conviction is going to strengthen our electoral system.
Yes.
It's going to strengthen even our electoral cases in the court. Because any professor that is being sent to the field now, the professor will be very, very careful. He will be skeptical not to be used as a scapegoat like these 2 professors. That is one thing that I am very, very happy with. I was discussing with one of my professors even last week. We were discussing that issue. And if you look at it, the professor was lamenting. The professorial cadre is not a tea party.
No, it's not.
How will a professor descend or condescend so low to collect bribes that will not even take you to anywhere? And look at what is happening. They are there chilling in our correctional facility, while the benefactors are very happy. If we are in the developed climes, I expect that people like the Senate President would have resigned by now. Because people will say it is not 2023 election. But that thing is a day on his personality.
Yeah.
From all indications. This is a very big lesson to politicians. Politicians should be very careful. They shouldn't take winning election to be a do or die affair. I was explaining my situation to you some years ago, twice, why they try to cajole me. Even a policeman, after a commissioner actually did him something, the policeman came and said, Copper CLO, say, now you go rebuild electoral system for Nigeria. But I stood my ground and said, no, I am not collecting that money. People try to maintain, to take their integrity very, very important. If they can do that, it will help us. Let me leave others to contribute. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Azudu. Brilliant contribution. We appreciate you all the time that you call in to make contribution. Yes, sins are forgiven has become a fixated catchphrase in Nigerian political lexicon.
Yes.
The politicians that move into APC, their sins are forgiven. What about professors that help in electoral fraud? Can their sins be forgiven?
Don't forget that the authorities have said that they are moving to the jumping ship. Will not stop them from investigating and prosecuting them if they have cases fraud to their names, be that as it may. Well, the way the cases of the professors have gone now is only a state pardon.
Only a state pardon.
Yeah. Some of these politicians that you are talking about, they do not wait until they are convicted before they start moving. They do not wait. They do not allow the court to finish its process before they start making their contacts so that they don't go to jail. It's too late in the day for these professors. If they were not helped during the process of court proceedings, it's only a state pardon now that can, except the man goes to Supreme Court. I don't think whether there is that option left for them.
The PDP is said to be depleted. You've used the word earlier. It's depleted. Greatly, a very great depletion. And APC has about 22 governors as at the last count, with PDP having only 13 or so. How bad is it for PDP moving towards 2027? Because there are rumors of more defections.
That is what makes it worse. It's bad already, but the fact that more governors will still leaving makes it very, very bad. Now, what can they do to stave further defection from the party?
Their convention is slated for August this year.
Will it not be late?
It's far.
It's far.
It's far.
Very far.
And they are yet to convene in next meeting, but they have an emergency meeting sometime this month. I think 27th of this month. They have an emergency meeting to discuss these defections. There could be more defections before then.
Yeah, that's why we're saying it is far. The convention is still some months away. So many things will have happened before then. I think those that are defecting in anticipation of that convention. The situation is very bad for the PDP. I think those that are after them because of 2027 election. And it will be very, very difficult for PDP to go into that election with one voice if the right things are not done now. I wonder how many governors will still be with them by the time, by next year. The reason is that ambition has almost killed that party. Personal ambitions. Yes. People don't want to concede for themselves. Everybody wants to be play the boss. Maybe because of how juicy it is at the top. It's a lesson for everybody. PDP that was big, that was strong, that was everywhere about 2 years ago. Look at what it has become now.
No, Shegun, one of the biggest funders, the last biggest funder of PDP was Nyesom Wike. You know, and he has remained a cog in the wheel of progress for the PDP because he has not defected. He's working for the APC. He remains in the PDP and he's working against the party. So he's one of the big cog in the wheel of progress for the PDP.
You can imagine how many people at the echelon of PDP now that are at the beck and call of Wike.
That's right.
Who Wike can point one or two things that he has done for them in their political life or even in their lives as individuals. So it's very, very, and all of them are with him, still in that party, one leg in, one leg out. So it's, and not only Wike, there are people like that. Of course, Atiku will have his men at that top level too. Saraki will still have one or two. So those are the people that should talk to themselves and talk to their cronies.
Don't you think they are doing that?
Are they doing that?
We would have known.
We would have known. Is Wike doing that in River State?
No, he's not.
So, and I think what all of them are doing now, they are working for a party, certainly not PDP, for 2027. Now, what do you think is happening now? APC wants to have Southwest, South. The entire Southeast too, if possible. It is possible. Because Soludo is in Abga. But the man is APC by heart. So during the presidential election, you can be sure Soludo will work for APC. So
they are comfortable with Northwest.
Yes.
Except Kano.
Except Kano. What they want now is to ensure that whatever anybody wants to do in some northern states that are still they are not sure of, at least they have some block votes in the southeast, southwest. So they want to solidify that area.
Yeah.
While they now begin to work again the second leg of their campaign on the north.
You've mentioned South. Let's listen to Do Good once again from Port Harcourt.
Okay.
I hope you are not having sleepless nights like Ashego Ojelade tried to advise you.
Good afternoon. Yes, the phone is not coming as to come before.
Yeah.
Yes. So eventually, wherever good is there, bad is also there. Because I want to ask who be the seat in physical arena 2027 in Delta State, because APC has the people on the ground for governor, for all the posts, and these people are driving into it now. I don't know what's going to happen in Delta State by 2007. I pray they'll handle it well, because it will be an explosion there. It just like a timing bomb. Despite the deflections, but some people are already on the ground. So let's watch and see. That's all I want to chip in. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate you. Let's wait and see. That's what he concluded with. You know, could you react to some of the issues?
Which party is on ground? The APC.
The APC. That's what he said.
Yes. I think what APC should be doing, because when the governor moves, the former Okowa too, when he moves, they are moving with all their supporters.
Yes.
And their supporters are huge.
They are huge.
Yes. So that is what frightens the PDP. Because if a governor in a state moves,
that's Sharif and Okowa, his predecessor. Yeah.
Yes, they know that they must have done their homework enough not to have voices of dissent to what they are doing. So they must have reached their people at the grassroots to tell them this is where we're going. I don't think the governor will just wake up in the government house and say tomorrow we are going without making a very effective consultation. So when the governor moves, he moves with a lot of people.
So okay, talking about consultation, that reminds me, I wanted to ask this question. It escaped my mind. You know, when the speaker was talking, he said all of them defected, 22 of them defected, following wide consultation with their constituents. Is that possible?
It is possible.
Okay.
It is very, very possible, because consultations are done at the grassroots. They needn't go to the grassroots. They just need to call the ward chairman, the ward executives,
and say we're moving,
and meet them.
These are our reasons.
Go home and tell your people. Then they come back and give feedback, and then they reach conclusions and they move. You can be sure that all the ward executives will be present where the declaration to move was done. So that is what frightens the opposition party, especially the governor. They know he has the resources to reach everybody. That is what the opposition had been enjoying when the governor was with them. It was possible, it was easy for them to reach the grassroots, because the means to reach them was in their purse. But now, they know what they will miss in the governor of the Delta State leaving the PDP. His own contribution to the party is out. They are going to lose it. So also all those things that supports that. So the PDP knows that there is a big problem on their hands. So to stay further defections now is what they should be talking about. So that so attacking the APC using propaganda will not help them. I suggest that they too should go underground and reach the people that are aggrieved in the party. And don't tell me about Wiki and the rest of them. There are still people elsewhere that may not be as strong as Wike, but they too still have a voice in the party. They should reach those ones.
You think that effort can stem the tide of defection?
It could help.
It could help.
One way or the other.
One way or the other.
Because, see, again, people in the grassroots, a politician will tell you that power is in the grassroots, that politics is played in the grassroots. But you see, those who dictate the direction are in the cities. So, because it is a function of money and influence.
I was coming to that.
And influence. So, if they see their leader, their supposed leader, it's very easy for them to follow him. Somebody that has been nursing the group, that has been taking care of the group. If he's still in your fold, you don't have a problem. You still have him, you are still treating him well at the national level, no problem. But immediately the man falls out of the national group and goes home to talk to his people. That I'm facing. Of course, you are going to lose that group of people. If the man decides to move, he will go with his group.
Going with his group, that reminds me about an idea that politicians behave, particularly political elites, they behave like butterflies by gravitating towards where the nectar is.
Yes.
So it's about money, it's about influence.
That's exactly what you have seen that is playing out in Delta State. Don't forget that the president can tomorrow say, okay, World Bank is bringing rural electrification to some states in the federation. Well, no problem, take 3 to Delta State. That does not need any National Assembly approval.
And that was the reason why they keep saying we need to connect to the center.
Yes.
It's about, such benefits.
Yes. And then so also there can be patronages.
There can be patronages.
At so many levels. So many levels. Don't worry, Shebi, we've been getting about 3 or 4 appointments at the federal level. Whereas now that we have joined them, it's going to improve. That is it.
When you say Shebi, you remind me of Tinubu's language, Shebi.
Sorry.
You sound like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
So if politician moves to where the nectar is, it makes a lot of sense why politicians are defecting to the APC.
Yeah.
See, it's only Nigerian politicians are greedy. Nigeria is rich enough to accommodate all of us. But it is the greed. When somebody will steal 300 billion.
But it doesn't even need.
It doesn't need it. Now imagine a commissioner in one of the states, Adamawa State. Imagine, I'm talking about the one that returned 301 million naira.
They covered 301 billion naira.
Yes.
As the balance for the Ramadan feeding. Yeah.
Yes. Imagine
in Zamfara State.
In Zamfara State, imagine.
He returned the money.
He returned the money to government. So the nation is rich enough. If he had decided to pocket the money, you can imagine now government will use that money to handle some, we hope, to handle some infrastructure or even to that will benefit the people.
But another greedy governor would have reprimanded that commissioner.
Him or even sack him.
Or even sack him. Say money remained.
Yes.
This is a balance. And you made it public.
Yes, and you did not come to talk about it before you go to the press.
You went to the press and made it public that and you fed people during Ramadan. And this is the balance. 300 million naira. You want to balance?
So I think if Nigerian politicians can do away with greed, the resources of this nation are enough to take care of every one of us.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Now, with this groundswell of defections to the ruling party, it clearly shows that it will be very, very difficult. It will be a Herculean task hurdle to surmount, beating APC in 2027?
That's what APC is working towards. The way it is now, if we have some credible polls agencies in this country, they will tell you that APC is
80%.
Yes, 80% now. But between now, and that is why the oppositions, rather than building their own parties, they are engaging in
individual fights.
Yes. Was it yesterday? A group formed a government, something government.
Parallel government.
Parallel government.
Exactly, it's a parallel government. You can't call yourself a group and have the appellation of government.
They now have portfolios and share it.
Yes, it's wrong. It is treason. It's treasonable felony.
I think the government will take it up.
Yeah,
with them.
I think so.
No, you can't do that.
When I saw it, I said it's treason.
You cannot do that in a democracy. We are not in UK.
Oh, Banana Republic.
Practice parliamentary system of government
without constitution.
Yes.
They don't have constitution.
This
in the
place,
UK.
Nigeria has a constitution, and we are practicing democracy.
Yeah.
If you want to vent your anger or anything, you have representatives at the National Assembly. So I think it is all to give the present administration a bad name. If the government moves in now to want to prosecute them, they'll say, look at what Tinubu is
silencing civil rights.
Silencing opposition. But they've crossed the line already. I mean, if this one is allowed to go, you can imagine what other groups will come up with tomorrow. In fact, they are the ones that will use it against the government tomorrow that is weak. That the government is weak, that they allow this to go. And if I know the government of the day, they will not take it lightly with them. I think the Minister of Information had warned them about what they are doing. If they persist, well, I think they should face the law. So that is I call it action panicky.
Yeah, action panicky.
Yes, they are jittery about 2027, and they've lost the roadmap as to how to prosecute, how to fight it.
So they're not forming their own parallel government.
Yes, so they should be more creative about what they are doing. So but again, I want to say that it behoves of all of us to join hands with ourselves. I'm not even saying with government now. Join hands with ourselves and ensure that this country moves forward. It's abnormal for everybody to be pulling the nation to his own side without all of us looking at how to build the center. We need to build this country. We keep saying we need to build this country.
Shegun, we're winding down, and I know you very, very well. I know you to be a very, very straightforward person. You are blunt. You say your mind at this your age without minding whose ox is God. Let me ask you this last question. These deflections that are ongoing, I'm not talking about the likes of RFI, driven by pressure from somewhere, or is it self-serving or driven by nationalistic fervor?
Forget nationalistic fervor. Forget it. No defection, no coalition has ever been in the interest of yes. It's always been in the interest of those that are doing it because they have an expected end.
Exactly.
There's something they are looking for. There's something they are aiming out.
Either for themselves, their region,
it's always,
their tribe.
It is always for themselves. It's always for themselves. Okay, look at the gale of defection we witnessed before we went into the 2014 election, 2015 election.
2015 election, yes.
Well, at the end of the day, how will you say it favored Nigeria? At the end of the day, when it all happened, very many people supported them, and that was why they were able to change the government at that time from one party to another. At the end of the day, what benefit accrued to the people? At the end of the day,
that's true.
So what is all the all the problems that Nigerians were crying against at that time, they still persist even up till today. So I don't see any good thing coming out of this gale of defections at the end of the day to Nigerians or ordinary Nigerians. Of course, that is what they will say. Just like you had the speaker of Delta House of Assembly say in his oration. At the end of the day, it is to feather their own nests.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Segun, for finding time to come and unpack this very, very incisive topic for us this afternoon. I appreciate you. I don't take your presence here for granted. I thank you most profoundly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
thank you,
viewers. I hope you have enjoyed the show. Thank you for being there, for hanging around to be our viewer. We don't take you for granted also. And I also thank our vibrant callers who always stand by their TV stations to contribute by making the program interactive as well as conversational. I remain yours truly, Macauley Hunohashi, saying, thanks for being there. See you next time. God bless Nigeria.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At KAFTAN TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
it's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
and around the world to create signal.
At KAFTAN Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are, starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on KAFTAN TV, imagine a beautiful world.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At KAFTAN TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
it's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria.
and around the world to create signal.
At KAFTAN Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa